Good morning, YCC. Today's devotional, I actually want to bring us back to a story, something which I'm sure most of us have all read, and those of us that haven't, I highly recommend it. Just want to read a bit from The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. So Aslan has just been sacrificed, he's just been killed, and he has just been raised back to life. And the story says, "And now," said Aslan presently, "to business. I feel I am going to roar. You had better put your fingers in your ears." And they did. And Aslan stood up, and when he opened his mouth to roar, his face became so terrible that they did not dare to look at it. And they saw all the trees in front of him bend before the blast of his roaring, as grass bends in a meadow before the wind. Then he said, "We have a long journey to go. You must ride on me." And he crouched down, and the children climbed onto his warm, golden back. And Susan sat first, holding on tightly to his mane, and Lucy sat behind, holding on tightly to Susan. And with a great heave, he rose underneath them and then shot off faster than any horse could go, downhill and into the thick of the forest. Now, obviously, those that have read the story, we know that Aslan is God depicted in this story, and it's just a wonderful description. I feel I'm going to roar. You'd better put your fingers in your ears. And they did. And Aslan stood up, and when he opened his mouth to roar, his face became so terrible that they did not dare to look at it. The authority, the strength, the fierceness in Aslan's roar, and yet later we read the tenderness. The children climbed on his back and he took them off, and he was warm and soft. And I just think that's a wonderful, wonderful description of God, that he is fierce and ready to roar. He will fight our battles for us, and yet he is tender and warm and intimate towards us. And I think if any of us are feeling that we need a God who's going to fight our battle for us, and who's going to roar into the face of our enemy and roar into our situation, or just roar to get our attention and make us stand alert again, and just sort of find our way back to God again. Our God is a God who has an almighty roar. He can roar life into situations. He can roar his covering, his protection over us. And yet he's tender and he's gentle, and he carries us on his back. And I'll just read to you Psalm 24, verse 7 and 8. "So wake up, you living gateways. Lift up your heads, you ancient doors of destiny. Welcome the King of glory, for he is about to come through you." You ask, who is this King, this glory King? The Lord, armed and ready for battle, the mighty one, invincible in every way. God is our God. He is armed and ready for battle. Call on him to roar into your situation, to roar into the injustices that we see, and into the hurting and into the needing situations, into the lives of those that we see every day and who need God in them. Call on God to roar into them. And if you need God to roar into you again today, call on him to roar into you, and be renewed in God.